Vice Chair Beyer, Chairman Lee, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Now it's been almost 7 months into this crisis, and I don't think anyone has lost sight of the devastating cost to our health and our livelihoods from the coronavirus. What we can lose sight of is the federal fiscal response has been equally unprecedented. I'm going to begin with a brief overview of the current landscape, highlight the inability of Congress to stimulate an economic recovery with more spending, and then briefly outline 3 areas where Congress can help facilitate the recovery. To date, Congress has authorized $4 trillion in aid, and the Federal Reserve has made another $7 trillion available. Due to these significant federal transfers, disposable personal income and personal savings have actually increased during the height of the crisis and have remained elevated. These temporary programs represent a powerful one-time action, but they are not a sustainable solution, especially as the path of the virus over the next year or more remains highly uncertain. The trillions in new programs that have already been authorized will also have future costs. They will discourage work. They will keep businesses from retooling for the new normal, and they will add to public debts, which will lead to future tax increases. The federal government cannot keep the U.S. economy on life support forever. Americans must be allowed to return to work, return to their communities, and return to their schools. Since February's peak, we have recovered about half of the jobs we lost in the spring. Other economic indicators are also trending in a positive direction. Given this swift turnaround, I want to caution you that this is not proof that the trillions of dollars spent over the past several months is responsible for the good news. Historical evidence makes it clear that stimulus spending is not an effective way to revive failing economies, and early estimates of things like the Paycheck Protection Program put the cost of each job saved at just shy of $300,000. Ultimately, governments are not able to tax and spend their way back to economic prosperity. Instead, the quicker than expected rebound has been driven by Americans ready to re-engage in their communities and return to work. The recovery will continue to follow people's willingness and ability to return to work, return to school, and return to their communities. So what can be done? First, states should allow businesses and schools to reopen with safety measures in place. Congress can help facilitate this reopening by protecting workers and protecting employers with liability measures to shield from frivolous lawsuits. Second, Congress can increase access to business capital so that those who do reopen existing businesses can expand, and entrepreneurs who take on risks of bringing new ideas to market to fill new needs in the post-crisis economy will be able to scale up. Things like full expensing and streamlined rules around raising funds can go a long way towards facilitating a quick recovery. Lastly, Congress can increase worker flexibility. With limited jobs available, people need options. And with kids at home and other new constraints, people need additional flexibility. Last year, 76% of people said they would consider freelancing if we were in a recession. Congress can make finding these types of flexible work arrangements easier by streamlining the multiple definitions of what an employee is, and providing safe harbors for non-wage benefits for freelance workers. Traditional workplaces can also be made more flexible by rolling back recent increases to overtime thresholds and creating things like universal savings accounts so that all Americans can save more of their earnings regardless of their employment status. Additional large-scale federal aid threatens to derail the recovery. New stimulus checks, temporary payroll tax holidays, more federal spending to inflate state budgets, or new infrastructure spending are all misguided attempts to support the economy. Additional stimulus spending will simply worsen America's budget imbalances without the benefits of a promised economic boost. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.